This video is the third in a series where I'm playing through every Pokemon region as a hardcore Nuzlocke, carrying over my Pokemon from the previous game. It's kind of like a gen lock, but I transfer over my entire PC and I can't catch any more Pokemon. So let's start this awesome DS era of Pokemon. My Johto journey begins, and this reminds me quite a bit of Skyrim. After being viciously attacked by Pika-Blue, Elm gives me a Cyndaquil who's not going to be on my team for that long. In the PC, I have all of my Kanto Pokemon and will not get any more encounters throughout this game. So goodbye Cyndaquil, I want Ace the Charmander to follow me instead. Having Pokemon walk behind you is so simple, yet satisfying in this game. Game Freak hit it out of the park with these Johto remakes. Anyway, I have a Pokemon battle with this thief guy, but his Totodile can't stand up to my dual champion, Ace, who gets an experience boost because he's traded all the way from Kanto. This dude ends up being Silver because why not? Lyra shows me how to catch Pokemon, which is irrelevant because I won't get any more encounters. Jumping ahead to the Sprout Tower, Silver lectures some old beanstalk guy about Pokemon, and I use Chiding the Farfetch'd for the very first time the entire series. Unfortunately, in this battle, Ace gets to level 11, which if you've seen my previous video, is the level Pokemon stop listening to you if you have 0 badges. So that's fun. I still lead with Ace against Falkner because, obedient or not, I'm sure he can take out a little Pidgey, right? It takes a while, but yes he can. I then pivot to Rockman on the illegal Pidgeotto, but again, he refuses to listen to me. I would have kept Rockman under the level cap, but he actually doesn't learn Rock Throw until level 11, which is, the exact level they stop listening to you, so my hands were tied. But Pidgeotto's Gust doesn't do all that much, and after many turns, Rockman finally does win. Unlike the last region, in Johto, Pokemon up to level 20 obey me with the first badge, so I don't have to struggle my way through a second badge. After falling into a well and defeating Team Rocket, who is just hanging out down there, it's immediately time for Bugsy, the second Johto gym leader with not Johto Pokemon. Couldn't he have had a Heracross, or Spinarak, or even a Leddyba? There are plenty of Johto bugs. I lead with Ace, expecting a U-turn, and am instead quick attacked. Chiding comes back out on a heal, and Aerial aces the bug, who never U-turned. I could have sworn this Scyther would have spammed U-turn. That would have made this fight quite a bit more difficult, but I guess he didn't want to. That means that Rockman didn't even have to be used. Before leaving this town, Silver doubts that I actually could have defeated Team Rocket, even though they were pushovers. Rockman rock throws the Ghastly, and then right as Liberty Bell is about to Vine Whip Croconaw, she gets flinched. Great. But I do have an Angry Eyes Voltorb in the back who sparks the Crocodile, and the Zubat too, though he gets confused, so Rockman has to finish the fight. Lyra's grandparents try to set us up on a date, but I already have a date. With Destiny. Actually, it's with Whitney, but that didn't sound as cool. Not Weedle reappears for the first time since the Brawly battle in Emerald and does what Butterfrees do best, Compound Eyes Sleep Powder. I know this is a bit cheap, but Whitney has a cow straight from the pits of hell, so I think we're even. Butterfree never even gets hit and defeats the Clefairy. Once the Demon Cow comes out, my true plan begins. I led with Butterfree, who was 4 times weak to Rock, to bait out a rollout from the Miltank. Womankey would not be able to take stomps very well, but rollout is another matter entirely. Since Miltank is stuck in rollout, she can't heal and easily falls in 2 low kicks. Thank you, Notweedle. You were perfect bait. Just like this video is bait for all of you to make sure you subscribe to the channel so you keep watching this awesome Pokemon adventure in future regions. In the Burn Tower of Ecruteak City, Silver challenges me to another fight. Guts, the newly evolved Raticate, bites the Ghastly, and Rockman magnitudes the Magnemite. I didn't pay attention to my guide very well because a Croconaw's Ice Fang would totally have killed Liberty Bell if it crit. That's okay, Guts can Hyper Fang it, and Rockman defeats the Zubat. And somehow I'm the weakling after just beating you up? Whatever, man. Morty has a superiority complex, or in terms you kids would understand, he belongs on r/I'm the main character. Though Red is clearly the main character. I decide to lead with Hydra, the Doduo, who has never been used. Oh. She manages to take out the Ghastly, and Haunter, and then gets cursed. That's fine, I needed to swap to Guts on the Gengar anyway. Gengar actually survives the first crunch, surprisingly, and hits a Sucker Punch before falling. Now Guts could easily have swept all of Morty's Kanto ghosts. Why he doesn't have a Misdreavus is an enigma, but I at least wanted to see Hydra for a bit before he's shoved back into the box. In Olivine City, Silver is still so traumatized over our last battle that he refuses to try again, instead complaining that the gym isn't open in the middle of the freaking night. I bet Silver is one of those customers always right type of people. Gross. Anyway, a hop, skip, and a jump across the ocean leads us to Chuck. A single Psybeam from Big Nose takes out the Primeape, but the Poliwrath ends up putting him to sleep after a few hits. So I pivot to Not Weedle on a heal and proceed to Sleep Powder once again. Her Psybeam is quite a bit weaker than Big Nose's, and Chuck heals yet again, but thanks to Confusion and Sleep, Not Weedle is never even touched. That went pretty well. After completing my stint as an illicit substance mule, Jasmine finally decides to go to her own gym. Before that fight, can I say how awesome it is that Naruto the Vulpix learns Flamethrower at level 24? That is so early. So naturally, I take that nine-tailed beast and I'm ready to wreck this lady. It's a very uneventful fight, as Naruto Flamethrower jutsus and one-shots literally everybody. This is reminiscent of his fight with Erika back in Kanto. On my way to Mahogany Town, I randomly encounter a Raikou on the water. I swear, when I was a kid looking for these, I could never find them. In Mahogany Town, Lance and I defeat some rockets, and I am forced to massacre a few Electrodes, who are still faster than my Graveler 12 levels above them. This brings me right to Price. Sparky the Raichu has a magnet, and Thunderbolts the Seal right away. This baits out Piloswine, who uses Hail instead of Mud Bomb. Okay, a single Choice Spec Surf takes him out. His last Pokemon, Dugong, uses an Aurora Beam, as Woman Key comes out, and a single low kick is all she needs. Dugong is decently fat, apparently. With that badge, the level cap isn't weird anymore, and I travel to Goldenrod, where Sparky and I join Team Rocket. But don't be fooled by the sudden and abrupt turn to evil, we are just infiltrating this criminal organization. Nothing more. Of course, this attempt fails miserably 5 seconds in, as Silver removes my costume. What a freaking snitch! Several Rocket battles later, including this dude Petrol who, I kid you not, has a full team of 5 coughings and a single wheezing, I discover where they are holding their hostage. Though Silver doesn't just let me save the day. He's still bitter about my failed infiltration, I suppose. Not that it matters, as Sparky uses his magnet to Thunderbolt Silver's entire team. Now that was an anticlimactic battle. About as much as the one with Archie, the Rocket executive. I mean, Cargo does get hit, but still one-shots everybody with a Choice Spec Surf. So that was fun. This marks the second time that I, Red, have caused Team Rocket to break up. But if you count my Hoenn escapades, I have ruined the plans of 3 criminal organizations. What a goody two-shoes this kid is. Jumping ahead to Claire, Cargo starts the battle by thunderbolting the Gyarados after a Dragon Rage. He has a Shell Bell, by the way. Against Dragonite, I totally misclicked and used Thunderbolt instead of Ice Beam. This gets Cargo paralyzed, which totally sucks. He takes the Dragon Pulse from both Dragonairs, but is not fully paralyzed. Until the Kingdra, that is. I had hoped Cargo would do some damage to Kingdra, but I suppose not. Instead, Spheal the Dugong makes her series debut to take a few Dragon Pulses, and does basically nothing with Ice Beam. Zinx the Jinx takes a Dragon Pulse on the swap, and her Ice Beam is actually useful. Not enough to convince Claire that I deserve a badge though. This requires an oral exam too. After passing with flying colors, I need to smack down on the Kimono Girl's evolutions, one right after the other. I lead with Big Nose against Umbreon, and immediately pivot to Woman Key on a Dark Pulse. She heals Confusion with a berry, and low kicks the Umbreon. Next is Espeon, and I thought Big Nose's Headbutt would do more than that. That was pathetic. Between Swift and Psychic, he barely makes it out alive. The Flareon is surfed by Starman. Jolteon spams Double Team, but is still hit by Earthquake after a few attempts. And last is the Vaporeon, who a Choice Spec Starman can almost one-shot. Not that he can do much to me. Now that I've defeated all of the sisters, I head to the Whirlpool Isles, where this guy's entire job is to stand in the middle of a cave and just block people from seeing Lugia. I managed to see him come on down anyway, and then just run away. East of New Barktown, I returned to Kanto for the first time in like 2 whole weeks. Red is flying through these regions. Before heading through Victory Road, I have resisted this temptation for as long as possible, but now it's time to evolve Eevee. I had intended to use an Umbreon, but I couldn't bring myself to bypass Espeon. If you've seen almost any of my videos, you probably already saw this coming, because I'm obsessed with Espeon. Anyway, at the end of Victory Road is Silver. Ace one-shot Sneasel with a flamethrower, baiting out a waterfall from Feraligatr, but Cargo just absorbs it. After the first hit, she has lowered defense, and I pivot to Sparky to finish off the Alligator, and the Golbat who comes out next. I bring Cargo back out on a curse, so I have to swap again to Ace to take out the Ghost. This puts him in a great position to flamethrower the Magneton, before swapping to Eevee on Kadabra's Psybeam, who responds with a Shadow Ball. And that's it, the last rival battle of the region. He wasn't too tough. After some last minute prep and choosing my team of 6 Pokemon, we enter the Elite Four. Will's first 3 Pokemon, the 2 Zatus and Executor, could not stand up to Zinx's Ice Beams. She does have a Never Melt Ice after all. Zinx and Jinx trade Ice Punch and Ice Beam back and forth, but since Jinx is a special attacker, mine obviously wins. Last is Will's Slowbro, who Starmie one-shots with a Choice Specs Thunderbolt. That was an easy start. For the old Ninja Koga, Ace begins the battle by flamethrowering the Ariados, and the Fortress as well. For Muck, I pivot to Rockman on a Minimize, and Earthquake actually hits first try, casting the Sludge into the depths below. Venomoth Toxics him, but quickly falls to a crit Earthquake. Crobat is Koga's final Pokemon, and after a Rock Throw, Golem is unable to connect another attack. Instead, Starman gets a lucky Thunderbolt hit on the bat. For Bruno, the reason I got Espeon, aside from him being so awesome, becomes clear. I didn't have a fast Psychic Pokemon, or at least not one who learns a Psychic move, looking at you Zinx, and I wanted one here. So, a Choice Specs Eevee with Psybeam, because Espeon doesn't learn Psychic for quite a while, one-shots his entire team. That was easy enough. For Karen, her tank, Umbreon, faces off against my own tank, Fatso. He belly drums, followed by Arrest. Now, this attack boost will probably not matter, to be honest, because after waking up with a Lumberry and body slamming the Umbreon, out comes Gengar, who Fatso cannot hit. I did consider letting him learn Crunch, but I was concerned about a Destiny Bond, so instead, Fatso takes the Focus Blast and yawns. I pivot to Eevee on a crit, that's fun, and Psybeam the Ghost. I put him to sleep just in case he outsped, but it wasn't an issue. Murkrow only has physical attacks, so Rockman tanks a few hits and Rock Throws. This baits out Vileplume, who paralyzes Ace on the swap, but it's fine, Flamethrower still connects. Last is Houndoom, and I realize I don't have a great pivot here. I intended to swap to Starman, but he is obviously Psychic type, so I don't know why I thought that was an option. Instead, Rockman returns to Earthquake after a Dark Pulse, and a Nasty Plot. With those 4 down, it's time to face Lance, the new champion. Now, if you watched my Kanto video, you'll recall that I destroyed Lance with a single Starman. So, how could I not do the same here? Starman thunderbolts the Gyarados, and then Never Melt Ice Beams 2 Dragonites, both of whom are technically illegal, because they're too low level. Aerodactyl is outsped, thank goodness, and gets surfed. Charizard survives the first surf to Shadow Claw, but falls after a heal. Last is a slightly less illegal Dragonite, but he still dies to an Ice Beam, just like the rest. This means that Red has become the champion of his 3rd region. Things are going pretty well, all things considered. I have decided to not travel through Kanto all over again, because I literally just did that 2 videos ago, and I don't want to fight all the gym leaders again. However, with just a dash of cheating, I can give myself all 16 badges, as well as Rock Climb, so I can get to the peak of Mount Silver. There, I discover a reflection of my past self, and he is quite the dashing young lad. Eevee starts by Psychicking the Pikachu, which baits out a crunching Snorlax. Woman Key is crit, but that's okay, because a single Expert Belted Low Kick does the job. She baits out Charizard with Air Slash, that Sparky, with a Choice Specs, can Thunderbolt right out of the sky. Ace is sludged pretty hard by Venusaur, but responds with a much stronger Flamethrower. I pivot to Starman on what I thought was a Hydro Pump, but Blizzard works too. Blastoise gets healed a bit, but a few Thunderbolts and he is down. Last is Red's Lapras, but once again, a few Thunderbolts from Starman takes him out. After defeating myself, which is kind of weird, this concludes my Johto run. we managed to get through this entire region without a single death. That was pretty awesome, actually. Let's see if that deathless streak can continue into Sinnoh, where Ace and friends will make their return. I hope to see you then.